Oh, you got it? Got one?
Yeah. I got to my Pragyava's book. These are
What?
mine. I got to my Pragyava's book, the sign.
Oh, okay.
I looked at it. It looks really nice. It's like a really nice book.
Thank you.
Yeah. I don't know if the content's good. But... I looked through it. It looks like really good. Like very well done. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Here we are. Wednesday night shir. Do you mind just opening the door in case someone else comes? Okay. Here we are, getting ready for Shavuos. It was requested last week, maybe something connected to Shavuos. It's always nice to try to live with the times. So, so we have a little bit of a piece here that is connected to the minhag of eating milchiks on Shavuos. And it is also connected to the story in the Medrash about the angels who approached Hashem and said, "Oh, look at these losers over here. These guys can't get it right. They're continually messing things up. Give us the Torah, it's going to work out much better. We're going to listen to everything you say. We're not going to deviate. So more bang for your buck if you give the Torah to the to the angels." So we're going to discuss that as well a little bit. And it's going to start with really a little bit of a halachic discussion, which are halachis that are typically studied for smicha, or just if Jews want to learn Torah, they're also studied. Doesn't have to be for smicha, it could be for the sake of learning Torah. And we're going to hopefully put it together. We have a Gemara. We have a couple passages in Shulchan Aruch, and we'll see. So the class is called Milk, Meat, and Malachim. That's what it's called. So we're going to start with the Gemara in Masechta Pesachim. It's Daf Ayin Hey Amud Beis, the last line on the page, and then goes to the top of Ayin Vav Amud Aleph 76. So it starts where it says Gemara, Itmar, it was taught, where we learned. Cham l'seich cham, if something hot falls into something hot, meaning and one of them is forbidden. Dibra koil osir. Everyone agrees that the combination, what happens, the result of that is osir, not kosher. Seinen, let's say seinen, if on the other hand, cold falls into cold, both items are cold, and even if one of them is osir, divra koil, mutter. Everyone agrees that it's mutter, it's cold. So just your cold milk falls on some cold steak. Okay, whatever. You're good, no problem. I mean, you should probably rinse off the steak, I suppose, get any residue of milk off it, but it's not a problem. Cold on cold is not a problem. The Gemara continues. V'tzoinin l'seich cham is where it gets complicated. If something cold falls into something hot, we have a machlekes. How do we determine what is the halachic result over here? We're going to see it fleshed out in the Shulchan Aruch as well. Machlekes Rav and Shmuel. Rav Omar Ilah Govar. Rav says the principle Ilah Govar. That which is Ilah, that which is on top, is Govar. It overcomes and will give us the halachic determination. So if the thing on top is Asur, is not kosher, then it's govar, it's going to overwhelm, it's going to overcome the thing on the bottom and render the combination forbidden. But Shmuel Omar, Tata govar, no, the exact opposite. Tata, that which is beneath, that which is below, that is goiver, that overpowers or overwhelms, and that is the determining factor. So if it's cold into hot or hot into cold, machlekes Rav and Shmuel. It depends. Do we paskin like Rav that ilah govar, that whatever's on top is the determining factor? So, for example, if something hot falls into something cold, then Rav would say ilah govar, that which is on top. If it's, let's say, it's treif, something treif that's hot, that's going to be govar. It's going to overcome whatever's on the bottom, heat it up, and therefore render that unkosher as well. The same thing according to Shmuel, who says tata govar. No, that which is beneath determines. So if it's cold, then it's fine. That's the Gemara. We're going to see the Shulchan Aruch as well. So let's look in Rashi on the right side. Osur. That is talking about if something hot that's non-kosher falls into something hot that's not kosher, or vice versa, it's osur. Rashi, why is it osur? I'm sorry. Yeah, if one of them is mutter, one of them is osur. So Rashi is osur dabola heter meisur, because something which is mutter absorbs something which is osur. So hot and hot is a deadly combination. What about a law gover? The Gemara. So Rashi continues. What does it mean, a law gover? The shita of Rav means ha'elyon noitzeach. Keep that word in mind. I think that word a little bit. I didn't chop that before when I was preparing before. The word noitzeach, netzach. It's victorious. There's a little bit of portending the future, if you will, over here. Ha'elyon noitzeach. That which is above is noitzeach. Is victorious. He determines what happened, it. Hilkach, therefore, according to Rav, who says Ilah Gavar, Cham l'soich soinein, if hot falls into cold, osur, then the cold becomes osur. Why? That which is above, which is hot and forbidden, is mechamamoy, it heats up the tachtin. And now, now they're both hot. So that which was cold became hot, and now it absorbed the Isser. Ubali mehadadi, and it absorbed from both of them. So each one absorbs the other, so you end up with something trading. But on the other, mutter, according to Rav, if cold, which was on top, falls into something hot, mutter. Why? Sha'elyoin, that which is above, according to Rav, is mitzanenoy latachtin. It cools down that which is below. So even if that which is below is hot and the osur, cold goes onto it, the cold is noitzeach, it's victorious, it overcomes that which is on the bottom, cooling it off, and now what absorbs? Nothing, because it cooled it off. So therefore, v'loy bali, it doesn't absorb, and therefore it's kosher, mutter. But
the action is the same though. So why
with
one of them is the hot heating up the cool, but in the other case the heat is being cooled by the cold. Like the action is the same. Let's just give an example. The ice is going into the hot soup. So why in one of the interpretations would the ice become heated by the soup, and in the other case the soup is being cooled by the ice? It's the same action.
Right.
So it makes a big difference if the ice was put in or if the soup was poured on top of the ice. It makes a huge difference.
Yeah.
Okay.
What are you saying is mutter? The food or the pot?
That's those are two different questions.
Yeah, like
Food or the pot. The pot would depend on it. By the way, we're going to see in Shulchan Aruch as well. This depends on the bittul b'shishim.
Sorry, but Arthur was saying that he's not seeing the live feed. Is it? Okay. Just only giving him recorded video. Okay.
Oh, bittul b'shishim is going to be a factor,
Right.
which we're not really going to go into tonight, but that's, everybody knows about bittul b'shishim. That's going to be a factor. Also, two separate questions. Well, really three questions. Is the elyon kosher? Is the tachton kosher? And is the pot that it's in kosher? What if it's not in the pot? So that's actually four questions. Elyon, number one. Tachton, number two. Pot, number three. What if it's no pot? Number four. So there's various combinations, and it all, like any good halacha shaila, it depends on the details.
Right.
Like anything else. Was it hot? Was it cold? If it was hot, how hot? Hot here doesn't mean warm. Doesn't mean if it's lukewarm, that's basically the same as cold. Okay. That is the Gemara upon which our halachic discussion for tonight is based. Machlokes, Rav, and Shmuel. Let's take a look in the Shulchan Aruch, Siman Tzadik Aleph. This is in Hilchos Basar B'Cholav, in the Yoder Deya section of Shulchan Aruch. Section 91, Tzadik Aleph, Sif Dalid in the Mechaber in the Shulchan Aruch. We'll read the whole thing, even though it's not all relevant for our discussion, but we will read it anyway. If you have boiling hot meat and milk, shinis aru yachad, and they got mixed together, and even if you have basar tzayin cold meat into cholav reisech, into boiling hot milk, or vice versa, or cholav tzayin, or cold milk l'seich basar reisech into boiling hot meat, into your cholent or whatever, hakol asur, period, nothing to talk about. Nothing to talk about. Why? Mishum the tata govar. Who does a paskin like? Shmuel. Paskin's like Shmuel. It says tata govar. That which is below is goiver. So if they're both hot, for sure you have a problem, which is clear in the Gemara anyway. They're both hot, for sure you have a problem. But even basar tzoinen, it's called into cholav reisech. So the basar tzoinen is the elyoin, and the cholav reisech, the hot boiling milk, is the tata. Or vice versa, cholav tzainin into basar hot. So it's, the hot thing is on the bottom. Hakol asar. Why? Because tata gavar. That which is below is going to overcome and be victorious. However, vice versa, avol cholav reiseyach. If you have boiling hot milk, shenafel al basar tzainin. On cold meat, what's the gavar? What? I'm sorry. What's the tata in this case? Basar tzoinen, cold meat, or vice versa, or basar reisech, boiling hot meat, shenofal l'seich cholav tzoinen, falls into a pot of cold milk. Is it kosher? Sure. Why? Because we paskin like Shmuel, tata govar, and if the tata is cold, so we saw the lashon of Rashi in the Gemara that it cools off that which is above it. And if it cools it off, then nothing's absorbed, then everything has remained. Now, that being said, it's not 100% mutter. Meaning, the Shulchan Aruch continues. Actually, what you have to do is koilef habasar. Means like you take the top layer, you peel it basically. Peel the meat. You can't really peel meat, but you peel the meat. We'll see why soon. V'yashar habasar mutter. And everything else mutter. So you take a piece of blazing hot brisket and it falls into a cup, a jar of cold milk. Mutter. The meat is kosher, the milk is kosher. All you have to do is be koilef, you have to peel the outer layer of the meat. We'll see soon in the shach.
We're talking about a liquid going into a solid, but what about liquid or
Liquid, that's
solid?
the question.
Like hard cheese onto whatever, like a solid or liquid is even more complicated.
Liquid is for sure more complicated. Why is it more complicated?
You can't separate
It's a mix.
that.
It's separate. So then what are you gonna? How do you know if it's kosher or not?
Shishim, but shishim.
Both of shishim. General, yeah, bit of shishim is going to be the general rule of thumb.
Regardless of tatoi or top and the bottom, it doesn't matter.
Well, with two liquids, there is no top.
You
and
can't
bottom.
separate. Can't separate.
With two
No, but if
liquids,
something dropped, right, or something
Right,
dropped into it.
right? But with two
It doesn't
liquids, they
matter.
mix together. There is no top and bottom.
Did I put it on the page here? I think that.
Bible too.
Where does he bring about?
Jonas, can you pass the tissue?
Oh, it's in the next. Okay, we'll get to it. It's in Taluvis. We'll get to it soon.
But this thing is talking about milk on like just meat, like
Yeah.
a solid piece of meat, not a chicken soup.
If it's two solids, if a hot treif meat falls onto a cold kosher meat, so it's fine because tata govar.
Mm.
You'd maybe have to be koilef it. You'd maybe have to peel it, but it's not a problem. Okay. Sorry, what's going on over here? Oh, I'm gonna hey, it's in Dalit. I knew something wrong over here. No, it isn't. Sorry. Yeah, it's in Kufay. I wrote it wrong on the source sheet. I knew something was. I knew I was confused for a reason. I wrote year on source number 3. I wrote year day 104. It's 105. It's Kufay. Okay, that's a whole different discussion. Okay, so okay, let's take a look in the Shach on the right column. Shach is of course one of the main commentaries on the Shulchan Aruch. Shach and the Taz here in Yerdea. Hakoil Osir, that is talking about any of the first cases, whether it's too hot meat and hot milk that mix together, or whether it's cold meat that fell into hot meat. I'm sorry, hot milk, or cold milk that fell into or onto hot meat. Hakol osir, it's all forbidden. Why says the Shachi? Im en shishin. If it's not batal b'shishin. So that you'll have to figure out. Okay, let's skip the rest of the Shach there. Vav, Shach Vav, Mishum da tata gavar. Kaloimar, what does it mean tata gavar? Shach tachtoin, shureseach, the bottom item, which is boiling hot, is mechamim ha'elyon atzoinin. Heats up that which is above it, and therefore it overcomes it, it overwhelms it. So, tata gavar. Now, what about koilef habasar? Why would you have to peel off the meat? In the second case in the Mechaber, where we said that if hot milk falls on cold meat, we say tata gavar, the meat is cold on the bottom, and therefore it overpowers the hot milk, cooling it off, and therefore your meat is kosher. Milk is also kosher, right? So why did you peel the meat for? Mishum dakan, the atachton utzoinen, when here the tachton is cold, as we mentioned, it cools off that which is above. Ella, the ademekarle, but until the time that it takes for the tachton, which is cold, to cool off the elyoin, in the meantime, bola purta, it absorbed a little bit. Just technically speaking, it had enough time there with the hot milk on the cold meat. Okay, fine. So the meat's not ulcer, but a little bit it did absorb, so you have to peel it off, so to speak. V'ayin b'simin kufhei, which is what we're going to look at in source number 3, sif gimel, oid medina tatal gavar. We're going to take a look at that in a moment. Okay. So we pass on like Shmuel. Pass on like Shmuel in the Gemara. Let's go to source number 3. This is also in Yeridea Shulchan Aruch, but it is in the last halacha was in the halachas of Basar B'chalav, whereas this is the halachas of called Taruvas, which is a mixture. The main difference really, Basar B'chalav, is milk and meat. So really, officially, both items are kosher on their own. The chiddush is that you can't combine them. Right? That's the chiddush of Basar B'chalav. Like shatnez. Wool is permissible, linen is permissible, the combination is also. So to meat is kosher, milk is kosher, the combination is also. Whereas taruvos, this section here in Shulchan Aruch, is not talking about two things that are kosher. It's talking about one thing is kosher and another thing is not kosher, and they got mixed together. Different, and all sorts of different cases, like let's discuss this here, like what happens if a mouse falls into your barrel of beer, things like that. Let's take a look over here. This is Yordea. I made a mistake on the source sheet. It's not 104, it's 105. Siman Kufhei. If Gimel Halach Gimel Mechaber. Nofal Iser Cham L'Seich Heter. If a hot Iser fell into something that's permissible and it's also hot, the Klirishin has to be that it's still in the Klirishin, which means it's still on the fire, it's still hot. Or even or even something which is forbidden that's cold, and it falls into something which is permissible that is hot. So what happens? Hakol also, it's all forbidden. Why? The tata gavar le'elyoin. the tata, that which is below, overcomes the elyon, that which is above, and it heats it up, and shemaflit betachtin, until now that the elyon is hot, it's going to expel its non-kosher flavor into the tachtin. So the tachtin's kosher, not anymore. Does that make sense? So if that which is above is hot, or even if that which is above is cold, falls in, and it's also falls into something below that is mutter and hot, tata govar, so it overwhelms it. If the thing above is hot, so anyway, for sure it's a problem. Even if the thing above, even if the item above is cold and mutter, and also, then the item below heats it up until it expels, like Shalom said, expels its flavor, non-kosher flavor, into the tata, to the lower item, and it's treif, not kosher. We certainly don't need to say the heter soinen l'seich iser cham. Certainly, if something which is mutter and cold falls into something which is osir and hot, tata gover, right? Shakol osir, for sure it's osir. No question about it, tata gover. Avol, but says the Mechaber, im ho elyoin cham. If the upper item is cold, and we know where he's going with this already, right? If the upper item is hot, and on the other hand, v'atachtin seinin, the lower item is cold. Einoi oiser elo kedei klipa. All he had to do was peel the outer layer. Why did he peel the outer layer? As the Shach said in Siman Tzadik Aleph that we saw before, because in the meantime, while it's cooling it off, so it had the chance to absorb a little bit of the treif flavor. So not enough to fully permeate the meat, but enough that you have to be koilef it, you have to peel it. Afilu im elyon hacham iser. And the Ramah then says, we're dafka talking about the heat of a kli rishon. You right away took it off the fire, right away you put it with the heter. It was already in a kli sheni. And then, meaning, not only did you take it off the fire, but you then poured it into a second kli. Then now you combine them all over on top of it. Then it's a cloud. It's not usher at all. Why the kli sheni and usher commission is bar? But that's a separate issue. That's the issue of kli rishon, kli sheni, etc. You have certain things that even kli shlishi were makbid on. We're makbid on even a kli shlishi. But generally speaking, okay.
You don't have to peel it in.
Yeah. I mean, make her a din. Strictly speaking, it's not a problem.
Yeah, but move it though.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
You don't have to peel it later. Once you
What
clean
do
it
you
up.
knock it on? What's the shisha? I'm just curious.
There's certain things called kali bishul. Like some want to say tea leaves. That's how people do the whole trick with tea. People make tea essence, or people whatever they do. This is because of kali bishul. The Alter Rebbe in the Siddur is concerned also about challah. You find the Lubavitchers won't put challah in the soup on Shabbos, unless the soup is really cooled down. The concern, maybe the soup is, even though it's a cliche, it's probably the klishlishi.
What about matzah on Shabbos? Not Pesach.
Yeah, wouldn't not Pesach.
Yeah,
and not on Shabbos either.
no.
And not on like this. Was it this year?
Yeah.
Was Achron no, and not on Achron Shal Pesach. That's Shabbos either. No.
Can't cook matzah anymore.
Okay. Is this okay so far? Obviously, it goes. There's obviously lots of details here, and if something like this happens in your kitchen, you have to figure out what was hot, what was cold, how hot was it, what is it, bottle b'shishim, what's going on over here, what is it? Is it two liquids? A big problem. Figure out if it's b'shishim. Then you have a shayla in Shulchan Aruch, the machlekas Friday and Ashkenazim, Mechaber Ramad. Do you get a Gentile to taste it? And if you taste the foreign substance, is it usher? We Ashkenaz Paskin, everything we go bit up a Okay. So the principle is Tato Gover, and we go here like Shmuel, which is unusual. Typically, we go like Rav. Usually we pass like Rav. In this case, we pass like Shmuel.
It's weird because like on Hilchos Shabbos, like the Rishon, you say cooks.
Yeah, sure.
And it's like if you take your kettle, right, and you go into your cup, and there's some like cold water from before, like left in there, it's an issue. I guess you know what I mean. That's an issue. I think I'm feeling. I'm saying like here we're saying that, but that's on the bottom.
Correct. So part of that has to do with how much water there is. Drops are a problem. The drops are easily
No, but let's
overcome
say,
by the flow from above.
but
If you have a big cup, like if you have a full cup, and you pour in a little bit of hot water.
right, then it's less of an issue. So.
Yeah.
But I'm saying, the top. In that case, the tachton is not the ikar.
Right. Because in that case, if all you have is a small amount, again,
But even like coffee, like you need a cliche.
that's because of the coffee itself. That we're concerned that the coffee is one of the kali bishul. We're concerned that if the coffee cooks easily.
Right. Cooks.
Because maybe it's easier to cook. Maybe it's one of those things that falls in the category of kali bishul. Yeah, that's like
We're not concerned that but it's not, but it's cham. So why is it not? So why is it not an issue? If the top is hot and the bottom is cold, we're saying the bottom takes precedence.
Correct.
Because it cools it off.
Correct.
But Hilchos Shabbos, we say that it cooks it. Cooks it.
Depends what we're talking about.
So it's different.
Yeah, because it depends what's being cooked. Depends what is the item. So if it's like the coffee granules, it's the coffee, or if it's tea, or whatever, certain spices, whatever it is that may be considered kale bishul. Kale means that it's easier for them to cook. Okay, so we're machmir because maybe even with a lesser degree of heat, and even with tatagavar, but it doesn't matter. This is kale bishul. This is easier to cook. Okay, now the next piece, I did not separate it into all the sources. It just didn't happen. But we'll go through it a little bit and try to discuss and flesh it out a little bit. So we have the foundation now of the basic halacha. It's machlekes in the Gemara, Masechta Pesachim, is ilah gavar or tato gavar. Rav says ilah gavar. What does that mean? That which is above is the determiner, whatever, is the determining factor. And Shmuel says no, that which is below tato gavar. And we paskin like Shmuel, as we clearly saw in the Shulchan Aruch. And that's going to determine how we paskin if you spill your cold milk onto your hot meat, or your hot meat onto your cold milk, or whatever it may be. So this is from a periodical, I guess, called Kerem Chabad, the Chabad Vineyard. It was printed in, this particular one is volume 1. I don't know how many volumes there were. I found in Eitzar Chochmah 3 volumes. I don't know if there were more or not. This particular one was published in Tishrei Tafshin Mem Zayin, which means Tishrei 1986. And the editor of this periodical was Yehoshua Monsheim. Well, maybe you heard of him, I don't know. He was a Lubavitcher, like a Lubavitcher historian or something like that. He wrote numerous Sfarim, put together numerous Sfarim. He liked to debunk stories. He liked to kind of like certain famous stories that everybody said happened. He would go and prove how it never happened. It's impossible it happened. No such thing as this story. And he wrote a lot of books kind of exploring history and sources and so on and so forth. And the subtitle of this Kerem Chabad is Iyun V'Cheker B'Mishnas Chabad. An iyun, I guess, delving, and a cheker, an investigation, the Mishnas Chabad, in the teachings of Chabad, Divrei Yemei Chassidus, and the, I guess, historical accounts of Chassidus, the Darkei Chassidim, and the ways of Chassidim. And it's all sorts of different collections. So here we see as follows. Shamaiti oimrim m'shem admor ba'ala shulchan aruch ve'atanya neshmosei edim. I heard in the name of the Alter Rebbe. And in the note on the bottom, it says this same, I don't know if it's the exact same, but either the exact same, I didn't look it up in the other sources actually though. This story is recounted in the name of the Sar Shalom of Belz. I'm sorry, of the Yid of Psishcha. Anyway, the Alter Rebbe said as follows. Why do we pass on like Shmuel? Normally, we pass on like Rav. All of a sudden, comes this case, Ilah Gavar and Tato Gavar. We should pass on like Rav, who says Ilah Gavar. But no, we pass on like Shmuel, who says Tato Gavar. So he says as follows. We'll try to take it apart bit by bit. The Bipnei Ze Hilchos HaKishmol Bepsachim Ayin Vav to Tato Gavar. In the Gemara Pesachim, we pass on like Shmuel. Why? Because who's Ilah and who's Tato? So, Mipnei, She Yisrael Sheichne Mata, because the Jewish people who are Sheichne Mata, we dwell below. We are the Tata. We are below. Nitzchu es Malachim Maila. Remember Nitzchu? I said to keep that word in mind from Rashi in Psachim. Ilah Gava Rashi says Ha'elyon Noitseach. Here it's the Elyon is not. We're going to see the Elyon is not. The Elyon is the angels. The Tachton is us. The Tata is us. We overcame the angels, the ministering angels, the Kibbutz HaTorah, and we received the Torah. Who wanted it? They wanted it. And this explains the Medrash that says as follows. When Moshe went up to Har Sinai to get the Luchos, the second set of Luchos, the ministering angels came over to Moshe and they said, one second. You know what? Did you forget already what these guys did yesterday? You forgot about that? Whatever it said in the Torah, they violated it. You're going to give it to them again? Why would you do that? Give us the Torah instead. Tana hoidcha al hashamayim. The Pasuk in Tehillim says, give your hoid, give your splendor to Shamayim, to the angels, the Jewish people. They can't handle it. They're going to mess it up. And the proof is they already did mess it up. So don't give it to them again. Give it to us. We're perfect. We're going to say Kaddish, Kaddish every day. And if it's going to be great, we'll do whatever you say. So Hashem says to them, it's all back and forth. It's all back and forth in this. There's a sikh from the Rebbe where he analyzes the whole back and forth, which we could have done that tonight, but we're not. Maybe another time. Maybe next year. Where he analyzes the whole back and forth conversation between the angels, which here in this piece, he doesn't quote the whole back and forth, the whole Shakel of Atariya, but there is a whole Shakel of Atariya, and the Rebbe in the Sikha analyzes what is the Yisoid, what were the angels actually asking Hashem? Like you can't just say, oh, I want the Torah, give it to me. Shkoyach, who are you? So here the focus is on the fact that they're saying that Esmol Overoleh, yesterday they transgressed it. But in the Sikha that Rebbe tries to uncover, he doesn't try to uncover, he does uncover a halachic foundation for why Hashem should give them the Torah. And just in brief, the halachic concept that the angels were utilizing was the concept of bar meitzra. Bar meitzra means a neighbor. There's a din in Shulchan Aruch that if you have a parcel of land and you want to sell it, and that parcel of land would benefit the neighbor, because now he's got, instead of his parcel of land and your parcel of land, he can connect them both and now have a much bigger orchard. So you have to give him the first opportunity. That's bar mitzvah. You have to give your neighbor the first opportunity. By the way, I said that to the owner of this building when we tried to buy from him. I said, it says Shulchan Aruch, in bar mitzvah, I'm the neighbor, you have to give me first shot to buy it. I told him. It says Shulchan Aruch. Okay.
What do you say?
What did he say?
It's not a field.
He said, okay, so pay up. So Amalek HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Hashem says, well, 1 second. You want me to give you, Mr. and Mrs. Angel, the Torah? 1 second. Avram. Remember that story, Parshas Vayera? When you went to Avram Avinu, achaltem b'oseh b'cholav. You transgressed. You ate meat and milk. So you're all arrogant. You guys are big shots. You're like, so the Jewish people transgressed the Torah. Says Hashem to them, to the angels, so did you.
Even though there's no Torah.
1 minute. We're gonna get to it. What's the proof that the angels ate meat and milk together? Or I didn't need to say together. What's the proof that they ate meat and milk? Shenamar, the pasuk says, "Vayikach chema v'cholav," number 1. Butter and milk, uven abakar asher also, and meat. So the angels, you ate meat and milk. Didn't you learn Shulchan Aruch? Hilchos b'oseh b'cholav. You're not allowed to eat meat and milk together. So you think you're deserving of the Torah more than Jewish people because they transgressed. So did you. So the question is, we have a question. Taharei basar achar cholav. We didn't bring this along in Shulchan Aruch. This is relevant directly to Shavuos, right? Meat after milk is mutar lechu, permissible. It's different in Hagim. Some people wait a half hour after eating milk before eating meat. It's brought down also al pizoyar, and some people also wait an hour, not half an hour. Okay, but that's you're not mechuyev to wait even a half an hour. You're not obligated to wait. So what's the issue? Man, if you ate meat, for sure you have to wait afterwards before you eat milk. How long you have to wait is a discussion, but you have to wait. But from milk to meat, you don't have to wait. And here the pasuk says v'kan ksiv koidim chema v'cholav. First the pasuk is v'ikach chema v'cholav. So what came first? Milchiks. Just like we're going to have here in Chabad, a milchik kiddush on Friday morning after the davening. We're going to have milk. We're going to make kiddush. You want to make sure if you use your kiddush cup, you usually have a fleishik suda. Don't get cheesecake on it.
It's cold.
It's cold, taka. So if you get cheesecake on it, what do?
Wash it up.
Wash it off. Wash it off. That's right. Nevertheless, it's good to be, because we're daf eating milk and we're eating milk together. We should be extra careful. Not okay, cold cheesecake gets on your kiddush cup, wash it off, but still. Okay. So the pasuk says koidim chema v'cholav, butter and milk, and then afterwards v'charkach uben avakar asher asa. Then it says he ate meat. So what did Avraham Avinu actually serve the angels? Milchiks, he served them cheesecake, and they ate the cheesecake, Shalom al Yisrael, or Shalom al Malachim, and then after that he brought out the meat. Is that a problem? No. 100% mutter. So what did the angels do that was wrong? Hashem says to them, you guys ate bossu b'cholot. What are you talking about? No, they didn't. They ate milchiks, and then afterwards they ate fleishiks, which is what I'm going to do on Shavuos. We're going to have a milchik kiddush, we're going to fabreng, we're going to have cheesecake, we're going to have milchiks, and then afterwards, wait an hour, afterwards, we have fleishiks. No problem. That's what the angels did. Did they wait half an hour? Did they wait an hour? That I don't know. Yeah, you following? Does it make sense so far? Umashma, the chema v'cholav lokach tekef. It's mashma from the pasuk that right away after Avinu brought them butter and milk. The harei ain't tzarich hasiyah. What do you have to do? You have to prepare it. You go milk the cow and you have milk. What's the big deal? You don't have to prepare anything. How long does it take to get a cup of milk? It takes a minute. It's nothing. Aval ben abakar, how long does it take to prepare a shtickle flesh? That's a process. Shchita, melicha, then you have to cook it. If it's a big piece of meat, it takes a while to cook. It takes time. That's why it's brought down to Shulchan Aruch that really, if you make a chulut before Shabbos, or really anything, right? It should really be l'chatchila fully cooked, ideally before Shabbos. But it's brought in Shulchan Aruch that what if you didn't cook it at all? So then there's a heter called basar chai, which means in plain English that you could put your chulut up, put it in your crock pot or whatever, immediately before Shabbos, like right before Shabbos, with raw meat in it. Mutter. Why is it mutter? I mean, we don't have coals that we would stoke, but in the good old days when they would stoke the coals to make the flame go higher, the fire go higher, there's a concern that if you see the food is not yet cooked, but it's almost cooked, if I just stick it to the coals a little bit, that'll heat up the fire, and then my food will cook, and I can eat it quicker. Then we're concerned. Maybe we're going to stoke the coals. That's also on Shabbos. But if the meat is fully raw when Shabbos starts,
No chance.
well, then even if I do stoke the coals, or if I turn up the temperature on my crock pot, it's still not going to be ready. There's a header, basar chai. In other words, meat takes a while to cook. Not to mention the shchita, the melicha, etc.
And it's tongue.
It's tongue. It's thick. It's hard to cook. I don't know.
Boil it.
Okay, Moshe calls it Rashi Shom. I have the Gemara over here. I didn't put it on the source sheet, but I have the Gemara over here. Rashi says over there. What does the Gemara say? Am I on the right page over here? Let's see. Yeah. Here. Pasuk says, where is it? Sorry, where did it go? I should have marked it before. Here. Pasuk says, the Gemara quotes the Pasuk we just had, Vayikach chema v'cholov. He took butter and milk of ben abakar asher asa and the meat. They tamed the flame and they gave it before them. What does it mean? The kama the meteor, the matio, I don't know how to pronounce it. That one by one, the meteor, as they would arrive, meaning as each calf would arrive, they would bring it. Then Aisila Kamayu, they would bring it in front of his guests. So it took which one came one at a time. Where's the Rashi over here? Kima de Matzi says Rashi, Rishon shemagia lecho, shenigma bishulay. Whichever one cooked first after cooking, and whichever one was finished cooking first, because it takes time. It's a process. So what does it mean? So, as you say, quotes here, Kima shetikin. As one at a time, he would fix them, he would prepare them empty as they would arrive. They would bring them in front of the guests. So the angels did nothing wrong. They say, give us the Torah, because you can't trust the Jewish people. And the proof you can't trust them is because yesterday they messed up. Hashem says to them, what are you talking about? You guys also messed up. You ate basar b'chalav. What do you mean we ate basar b'chalav? No, we didn't. Chema v'chalav, and then ben abakar. First muchiks, then fleishiks. So that's number one. We didn't do anything wrong. And number two, v'gam avram avinu olav hashalom, shekayim kol ha-Torah. Certainly, as the Gemara says in Yuma, that Avram Avinu fulfilled the entire Torah. What do you think? He's going to serve them basar b'chalav? It's not just that you're not allowed to eat the basar b'chalav.
You can't benefit.
You can't benefit from it. And you can't cook it either. So you can't prepare it. And nor can he give it to his guests, because now he's benefiting that he's serving his guests.
Feed it to your dog.
Can't feed it to your dog, that's right.
So
So Avram Avinu, the Gemara says, was Makayim Kol HaTorah Kula, even Erev Tavshilin. Reminder, make an Erev Tavshilin. A Rav in Queens texted me today, is it true that Chabad won't use the Erev Tavshilin to permit rolling the Sefer Torah on Friday for Shabbos?
it doesn't.
So I said, right.
No one does.
He says, he told me, I found, because I saw the Magen Avraham brings that, but I think it's a Das Yachid, I think. This person told me. I don't honestly know if the Magen Avraham.
But you could do it on Shabbos. Why, it only permits you to do things you can't do. And you can't cook.
Well, so first of all, I said, yes, that's talking the way Chabad holds by Erev Tavshilin. And I, it's the Magen Avraham. Good, Al Rebbe also passes this way in Shulchan Aruch. Al Rebbe passes this way clearly.
So what,
And the Darkei, I looked it up also, the Darkei Moshe on the tour also passes this way. The Erev Tavshilin, we say Erev Tavshilin means you could do things to prepare for Shabbos. That's not actually what it means. It means you could do things that are letzorchei seuda for Shabbos. Things that are for food, for eating related. That you could do. But clean up the house? No. Unless you're doing it for Yom Tov itself. You can't clean up the house for Shabbos. You can't roll the Sefer Torah for Shabbos. That's not food related.
Well, you can't like set the table because you made it after Tavshilin, because you could do that after. Like,
yeah, that's also true.
I think it has to do with things you can't do once Shabbos, like
Well,
cooking.
maybe that should be our next year could be an Erev Tavshilin.
Yeah.
But the Alter Rebbe, I don't have it in front of me, and the Darkei Moshe bring that it's connected to the inyan of Seuda, Tzarchi Seuda. Or Hachana, I forget the exact lashon. The Alter Rebbe brings it in Hilchos Erev Tavshilin, and the Darkei Moshe, it's somewhere else.
But doesn't it give you the ability to like, no, I don't do it like candles. I did before anyway.
Yes, you need it to light candles as well. Yes, because you can't light on Shabbos. But really, the Erev Tavshilin
Right.
is also for lighting
Right,
candles.
lighting candles, which is not, it's not.
It is, but the whole point of lighting candles.
One of the point, yeah, one of the points.
Right,
The whole point of Shalom Bayit, so you can see what you're eating. And all.
right.
Yeah.
So it's for this
Like
meal.
Kajal Beitz Heaven, yeah, sure. Okay, why do we mention this? Oh, because the Gemara says that Avram Avinu is Makayim Kol HaTorah Kula Filo, even Erev Tavshilin. That's why I mentioned Erev Tavshilin. Reminder to make an Erev Tavshilin tomorrow. And that's what we're not supposed to do it tonight either. That's what. Yeah, tomorrow's Erev Yom Tov. How did this guy happen?
I learned that if you're gonna be really busy, like you're gonna feel like say you work until right before you possibly could, but it's
Yeah,
better. Obviously, it's better
good.
to do tomorrow.
Yeah, good. You're right. 100%. 100%. Yeah. Okay. I lost track. Oh, so number one, don't tell the angels that they're violating halacha. All they did was eat dairy followed by fleishiks, mutter. And on top of that, their server was Avram Avinu, who certainly wouldn't serve them basar b'chalav. So they did nothing wrong. So back to square one, Hashem should give the Torah to the angels. The Jewish people are not so reliable. We violated it yesterday. Who knows if we won't violate it again? Stay on the safe side, give the Torah to the angels. So the answer is the hine. Tam Isur Basa B'Chalav, the reason for Basa B'Chalav, even though really Basa B'Chalav, the prohibition of meat milk is a choik. It's one of the mitzvahs like shatnez, like paraduma, etc. The laws of Tum and Tara, we don't understand the reason for it. However, here we're going to have a reason given to it as well, according to Kabbalah. Ultimately, the reason is because Hashem said so. That's the ultimate reason. But it explains in Kabbalah, Ki basar u'bechinas din v'gvura. Basar is din / gvura, severity, judgment, harshness, strictness, etc. It's red. Red is a color of harshness, if you will, of severity, right? When you were in I don't want to trigger anybody, but remember when you're in elementary school or whatever, and you get teacher would circle things with a red pen or whatever. The red is, you got it wrong. Red is a harshness. It's a din.
Stop. The light.
Stop. Yeah, right. But it's a typo here. It says v'leiv. It's obviously supposed to say v'cholav. U'bechinas chesed v'rachim. Milk is chesed, is kindness, is compassion, is giving. You see, for example, how do we see that milk is chesed, is giving?
Baby.
Oh, the mother sustains the baby with the mother's milk. What do you see there also? The more a nursing mother nurses, the more milk she produces. Normally, when you have a resource and you give away, you don't have it anymore. You lose some of it. Here with the milk, with the mother's milk, the more she nurses, the more she gives away, the more she continues to produce. Just the idea of chesed, of chesed and rachmin, kindness and compassion. The meat is you have to, it doesn't spell it out this way. You have to kill the animal to get the meat, so to speak, which of course is mutter, but there's a certain harshness there.
And then your resources the time.
Oh,
And you
good.
cook it, it shrinks. It's smaller.
And you wonder, well, I paid $80 for this brisket. How come it's only this big?
Exactly.
What happened? Every time you make a brisket, like, where did the brisket go? Like
You buy it cooked, it's even more.
yeah,
It's even more than buying it raw.
Yeah.
It's more.
that's right. So the meat is din v'gvura, but milk is chesed v'rachamim. And v'osra la'arvam. You don't mix these two. These are opposite spiritual energies. You don't mix din or gvura. You don't mix that with chesed.
No, but see, but that's that. To me, that doesn't make sense, because if that was the case, then you should not be allowed to have the milk first and then the meat after. It shouldn't just be specific to the meat and then the milk.
Why?
Because if the whole idea is that you can't mix the two because they're opposites, then you can't mix the two. Doesn't matter what you had first.
Okay, I hear your question. It's a good question. Hold that thought if you don't mind, because I think we're going to come back to that actually. If we don't, please bring it back. Okay, third line of the second paragraph. When you first eat dairy, milk, and then you eat meat, we pass in like Shmuel, tata govar. The first thing is that tata. So the milk is govar, umisgaber chesed aladin. So if you eat milk first, milk is chesed. I wanted to say also, it reminded me of Maisa. I think I got distracted by something. The meat, right? I was saying you have to kill the animal before you eat it, which is okay, but there's blood, there's death, there's a harshness, it's a shtickle severity. You're gonna kill an animal? What give you the right to kill an animal? Right? The Maisa was that there was where the Baal Shem Tov lived, there was a shaykhit. And I don't remember exactly what happened, but either he passed away or he moved to another shtetl, I don't remember exactly. And the way it would work was the Baal Shem Tov would give his chicken to the guy. There was a Gentile servant or something. I think I told the story recently. It was a Gentile servant, and the Gentile would take the chicken to the shaykhit. Shaykhit would shecht it, and then the Gentile would bring it back to the Baal Shem Tov. I feel like I'm confusing some of the details, but I'll say the story anyway. And then that shaykhit was no like he passed away, or I'm not sure what exactly. And there was a new shaykhit in town. And once again, Baal Shem Tov gives him the chicken, says, go bring this to the shaykhit. Please bring it back shaykhit. So he goes to the shaykhit, comes back, the chicken's still alive. Baal Shem Tov says, what happened? So the Gentile says, well, I saw when the shaykhit was getting ready to do the shechita. What do you have to do? You make sure to sharpen the knife. So he took some water And he put it on the sharpening stone and sharpened the knife. I said, no way. That's not the way that's not the way to wet the sharpening stone. I think it wasn't the Baal Shem Tov, it was the Baal Shem Tov was the Sheikhet maybe before. Okay. So the old Sheikhet would wet the sharpening stone with his tears. Because he felt, I'm about to kill an animal, take the life of an animal. There's a gevura there, there's a severity. So he sheds a tear. He cries for that. He's going to take an animal's life? Yeah, I just killed it. What do you mean? It's not so simple. So he shed a tear. That's the sheikhet that I want. Someone who sheds a tear before he pulls the knife across the animal. So there's a certain gevur there. Whereas chesed is rach. So if you eat milchiks first, and we pass it in the Gemara, or we pass it in the Shulchan Aruch, like Shmuel says tata govar, then the tata, which is the first thing we eat, which is the dairy, is goiver, it's menatseich, it overcomes the ilah. The ilah is the meat, which comes after the milk. So the milk, which is chesed, overpowers the gevura. That's why Chassidim, the right jacket, the right side buttons over the left side, because right in Kabbalah represents chesed, left represents gevura. So we button the right over the left. Chesed over gevura, not gevura over chesed. Umutu, that's permissible to have milk first and then meat, because milk first is chesed, and the chesed is tata govar, and it's goiver, it overcomes the gevura. Does this make sense so far? Okay. Masha'en ke lehefich osur. If you do the opposite, meat first and then milk, we know that's not allowed. You can't have meat and then milk. I mean, you wait afterwards, right? But you can't have meat and then milk. Osur lahag berdin al chesed. Because if you eat meat first, that's the tata, and tata govar, like Shmuel. And then we're going to say that tata, which is meat, which is din, is goiver on the chesed. And that's no good. So therefore, it's also to eat milk after meat. Because then all you're left with is din. The din will overrule the chesed.
So what would Rav's interpretation of that be?
Oh, let's see. V'zeu, that's only if we pass it like Shmuel. Shmuel says who? Who's goiver according to Shmuel? Who's the tata?
No,
Yeah. Who else is tata?
Jews.
Yeah, we're tata. We're below. Who's Elah? The angels. Angels are Elah. So v'zeu hu im Yisrael kiblos haTorah. If the Jewish people will receive the Torah, then taka halacha shetata govar. Then the halacha is the tata, the lower one means us. We were gover. And therefore, that's why we pass like Shmuel. Tata govar.
So Rav thinks that the Malachim are low.
If the angels would have received the Torah, then what's govar? Like Rav, Ilah govar. They won. They won the court battle. And the Medrash again spells out the whole court case, the whole shackle of battalion between the angels and angels and Moshe, back and forth, back and forth. Again, here we didn't quote the whole thing. I mentioned the Sikha, the Rebbe goes through and analyzes every step of the argument. So, if the angels has received the Torah, then the halacha would have been the opposite. The law govar like Rav, we would have passed him like Rav, who is we normally pass him like. And therefore, if we pass like Rav, that ilah govar, it would be osir le'echol cholov first, and then meat.
Unless in that example, Rav would feel that the Jews would be the Eloi, because since they can make mistakes and overcome it, they're greater than the Malachim that cannot do the.
Fine, that's very nice and true. It's a beautiful drasha, but it doesn't make us Elah. We're tata. We're below. So if the angels had received the Torah, we would have passed him like Rav that Elah govar, and therefore v'hayo also lechol cholov koydem basar. V'zeu she'omar leKadosh Baruch Hu, and that's exactly what Hashem says to the angels. Im atem tekablu Torah, if you guys are going to get the Torah, who's the halacha going to be like? Rav, Elah gavar, v'ti halacha di Elah gavar, im kain. It turns out retroactively, what did you guys do? You had milk and then meat. You get it? In kain lemafreya chaltem b'osar b'chol v'etz al Avram. It comes out that if we pass him like if we give you the Torah, and that means Elah govar, then retroactively the mafreya, it will come out. You ate meat and milk by Avram Avinu, because you had first milk and then meat, and meat is second, which is the Elah, and that's goiver on the tata, and you had treif. Make sense?
But that doesn't mean, Avram also retroactively did that, and he's.
But how do we paskin?
Shmuel.
No, but I'm saying if he would have given the Torah to the Malachim first, right, or whatever, give the Torah to Malachim, then retroactively you're saying the Malachim would have been eating milk before meat, which is usher in that case.
Why is it usher?
Because Elah, whatever, the
Ilah
Gavar,
gavar, which is the meat. And that's the din. And din will be goiver on the chesed. And that's usher.
Oh, you mean Elah's the meat?
Yeah, because you have to cheese the dairy first.
Oh, yeah.
In the stomach, imagine the stomach,
Alright,
in the dairy, and then you have the meat on top.
right.
But the ilah is the angels. The tata is the Jewish people. So if we paskin like the tata, then tata gavar. What's the proof tata gavar? We won the court case. If we paskin like if the court case is won by the ilah, by the angels, then we're going to pass in that ilah won, because that's what happened. Ilah won. So ilah gavar. So he says, if you ate milk first, which you did, and then meat, which you did,
Would have been allowed.
it would have not been allowed.
Right.
Correct. Therefore, Ella, the fact that you were willing to eat dairy and that you had your milk and kiddush fabrengen, cheesecake and lachaims, and then you later went and had meat, you just proved what you really believe. You believe, gilisim daichem, you revealed your opinion, shetata govar. Taka, the lower one, who gets the test. So therefore, Vatera Nesuna Yisrael. The Torah is therefore according to the psak of Tata Govar, was Taka given to the Jewish people.
You just translate like one more time. Because
I can try.
My head is like spinning.
Yeah. Okay, good. Okay, let's just wrap it up quickly like this. We have in the Gemara a machlokes. Forget the machlokes. We have a scenario. Something hot falls into something cold, or something cold falls into something hot. And one of them is also. How do we know if the resultant mix or happening, rather, because let's not talk about mixtures, that's liquid, that's more complicated, right? Mm-hmm. If hot milk falls on cold meat, or cold milk falls on hot meat, what's the halacha? So the answer is in the Gemara, machlokes Rav and Shmuel. Either Rav says ilah gavar, the item which is above determines what the halachic result will be. It overpowers and overwhelms the thing below. Does that make sense so far?
Regarding hot and cold.
Correct. Or Shmuel, no, opposite. Tata gavar. Whatever's below will heat up that which is above. Let's say the below thing is hot and the top thing is cold. Tata gavar means it will heat up the top thing, and then once the top thing gets hot, it shoots a tray flavor into the one below, and therefore it's also. So tata gavar, and that's how we pass in the Shulchan Aruch. We pass like Shmuel, even though usually when you have machlokes Rav and Shmuel, we pass like Rav. We pass like Shmuel tata gavar. So that brings us to Shavuos, and that brings us to Avram Avinu. Avram Avinu welcomed 3 angelic guests, and he serves them basar v'chalav. No. He didn't serve them basar v'chalav. First of all, Avram Avinu, he was a frum Jew. He wouldn't serve, I come to your house, you give me meat and milk, give me a break. Avram Avinu didn't serve basar v'chalav. What he did was fine. He fulfilled the Torah before it was given. What did he do? By kachem of v'chalav, first he gave them milchiks, and then ben bakar shas, and then he gave meat. Is it permissible to have dairy and then fleishiks? Sure, no problem. So the angels come to Hashem and say, listen, we want the Torah. The Jewish people, they mess it up. And if you don't believe me, check what happened yesterday. Check the video cameras and you'll see they messed up yesterday, right? So therefore you should give us the Torah. So Hashem says, what do you mean? I should give you the Torah? You messed up. You ate basar v'chalav by Avram Avinu. We ate basar v'chalav? Who are you talking to? No, we didn't. We had milk and then meat, which is mutter. Says Hashem to them, no. If you get the Torah, that means ilah gavar. The one who is above, i.e. the angels, are minatseach. The angels are victorious in their court case, and they get the Torah. So if the angels, that is the Ilah, is victorious, then we paskin like Rav, Ilah Govar, that which is above overcomes. So if we paskin that which is above overpowers, Ilah Govar, then let's rewind the video cameras now. When you went to the tent of Avraham Avinu and ate milk, that's Tata now, first. And then you ate meat, that's Ilah. You did Nevera, because Ilah Govar, the meat, overcomes the milk. And the meat is Gevura, which is Din, and that overcomes the milk, which is Chesed, and you're not allowed to have Din over Chesed.
Yeah.
That's,
I was just getting confused. I thought that it meant that it could also be that they ate the meat first.
no,
The fact is they ate the milk first.
that's right.
Okay, so
That's
that's
right.
fact. Then
So therefore, Hashem is actually saying to them, but the very fact that you were willing to sit at the tent of Avraham Avinu, eat first dairy, and then milchiks, is your gilui das, is you telling me what you really believe, which is the tatog. Tatog, which is the milk, which is chesed, is goiver overcomes the meat, which is permissible. So the fact that you ate that shows that's what you really believe, the tatog govar. Who's the tatog? That's you and me. And therefore the Eibusha gave the Torah to the Jewish people. We are the tatog, we're below. And tatog govar. Okay, that being said, reminder that we will have a milchik kiddush fabrengen on Shavuos day, and then you can eat meat after that. But I wish everyone Kabbalas HaTorah b'simcha v'pnimis. We should receive the Torah with joy, and we should internalize it. And thank everyone for coming to the shir. And God willing, we'll resume next week.